Wow, it's time for another show full of tips and ideas from the sales growth leadership expert, Dean Akers. Known for his experience in hyper-growing companies and creating cultures for high-performance teams, here's Dean.
Well, welcome to this week's Sales and Leadership Ninja Show. I'm your head ninja, Dean Akers, and each week I bring you a rant to stimulate your thinking in a realm of sales and or leadership. This week we're going to be working more in a leadership / growing your company. But I had some big wins with some of my sales ninjas this week. One of them sent me a text, and I always appreciate the texts I get from all my sales ninjas about how he conquered one of his biggest potential clients that he had been working on for a number of years, and then also shared with me how our touches, which are the Labor Day cards we just sent out, were doing really well for him. I also this week went out cold calling with some of my other ninjas, and that always just energizes me to death when I get to go out with them and we get to go walk right into those customers or potential customers and watch the shock and awe when they're not used to real sales ninjas calling on them, and we find great things and had great successes on that. So today's show is It's Right Under Your Nose. That's right, it's right under your nose. We're going to give you some tips today on some success resources that I've used in my career that absolutely work. I'm reminded of the story of the machine gun salesperson and they're standing outside the tent saying, look, I've got this great technology I want to bring you. I want to help you fight the war. And the general looks back and says, we don't have any time for all this stuff. We're too busy fighting the war. And I wonder sometimes, we as entrepreneurs, or if we're out there in business, even in salespeople, if we're not really looking for all the opportunities out there or asking for all the advice. Today I want to give our leaders out there a couple resources that you can use that I have personally used. First resource is your vendors. If you haven't built a relationship with your vendors, you are missing out big time. Now, I'll meet with CEOs and they'll go, well, their people call on us and we know who they are and all that. And I go, no, that isn't what I'm talking about, using your vendor as a resource. You've got to build those same relationships we talk about each week in sales. And I'll give you a couple examples so that this is just not theory, it actually works. So years and years ago, when I had my tire company and we were needing challenges, cash flows, everything else, we needed help. And the only way I could think of get help was to build a relationship with my tire suppliers where they would want to do business with me because of our relationship. Now that relationship has to be started at the very top. So what I did is I made appointments with the CEOs of all the various tire companies and went to visit them. When I went to visit them, I didn't go in and say, hey, I'm Dean, I'm from Airdrome Tires, I need you to help me out, blah, blah, blah. I got to know them. And eventually, in pretty short order, after I'd visit them every quarter, and I'd go up and just buy them lunch, just see how they were doing, see how their families were, get to know them, do my handwritten notes I've been telling all y'all about. They would always ask me, can I help you? And in the tire business, what they ended up doing for our company is they provided consignment inventory, which helped us tremendously because now we didn't have to buy inventory. And then we asked them, could you give us special terms? And they provided the consignment inventory. So when we sold it, then they gave us 90, 120, 150 dating terms, third. So we would collect the money before we ever had to pay for the tire, and that allowed us to hypergrow our company and made it a successful tire company. The other one I got to share with you because it was epic. We were growing a company and we needed to get capital in a bad way. Our biggest supplier of our product was up in Boston, and I went up in every quarter and met with them. And one day I was having my lunch with the CEO, just catching up. It was a beautiful fall day in Boston, and he was at the conference table. We were wrapping up, and he looked at me and he goes, Dean, what can we do to help you? And I said, well, you asked, so I'm going to tell you. I need $1.5 million interest-free for 3 years. And the guy, the CEO, was kind of a heavy guy, kind of a broad guy with a big white beard. And he started laughing and just going, you're crazy. What are you talking about? $1.5 million interest free for 3 years? We don't do that. And I looked at him, I said, Jerry, you asked me what I needed. I told you what you could do for me. What I'd like for you to do is when I get on the airplane and leave, for you to think of what you could do for me, not what you can't do for me. You asked me, I told you, come back and tell me what you can do for me. True story out there, y'all listening. True story. The next day I get a call from him. He says, Dean, I talked to everybody. We're going to go ahead and advance you $1.5 million for 3 years interest free to help you guys grow. That's right, you heard it. He called me in back and told me what he could do, which was exactly what I asked for. 2.5 years later, he called me up and he said, Dean, are y'all going to pay us back? And I said, absolutely. I said, but I've had an interesting thing come up. One of your competitors is coming in and they want to fund your $1.5 million and then give us another $1.5 million to grow some more, because we're growing a lot and we're buying a lot of your product and they want to kind of substitute you. And I told him, I'm not really sure that I want to do that because you were so good to me, but that $1.5 million extra plus rolling the $1.5 million for another 3 years would be $3 million that would really help us. And he goes, let me call you tomorrow. You got it. He called the next day, said, we'll give you another $1.5 million interest free and roll that $1.5 million interest free for another 3 years. That's right. That manufacturer, because of our relationships, advances $3 million in capital that went on to be a platform for us to build the company out, which we sold for a lot of money. So look to your vendors. Build your relationship with your vendors. Go call on your vendors. Go meet the CEO of your vendors. Go get to know them. Don't go up and just blah, 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 tell them all your problems. Get to know them. They want to help you, because when you're successful, you make them successful. So get out there and meet your vendors. Second area that I got to tell you that a success resource right under your nose for 99% of us, your local universities. That's right, your local universities. You want to go out and meet the deans of the schools that you represent. If you have a big engineering firm, you want to meet the dean of the engineering school. You want to meet the dean of the business school. You want to meet all the players for the colleges that would be logical for your business. Then you want to meet professors. And again, you're not going out throwing up all over them. And you know I'm a big one about not puking. You're going out there to build relationships. And you want to build a relationship for multiple reasons. A, they're a really strong brain trust for resources. Two, when you need really good people, and I've done this so many times, I'll call one of the professors I know really well in one of the disciplines I need, and I go, do you have any stud students coming out that I need to have on my team? And they'll give me his or her name, and they'll set the breakfast up with me. And when I meet them, I'm already teed up by their favorite professor that they want to work for me. There is no job interview and there is no work fair that you're hoping to find some needle in a haystack. I'm getting the professors to cherry pick the best possible people for me when I need them, and then I get to meet them, then I bring them on, and it works unbelievable. Same with the deans of the colleges. They have so many programs going on. You can get involved. And I got to tell you, my teams, we do something that your universities usually have programs to help the students learn. One of the local universities here, we go in and we become the class project for the graduating seniors in this particular business class. And it's 200 plus seniors that are graduating, taking this kind of, call it a capstone class. And when we go in, we put up $3,000, $2,000 for first place and $1,000 for second place. And they put teams of 5 people. So we'll have 40 teams working on our company. These are all college kids that are eager, A, now to win $3,000, B, to get a good grade, and they're going to take our company apart, and they do take our companies apart. At the end of the semester, the professors provide the top 5. We go have a full-blown presentation by these young folks, and not all of them are so young because some of them are MBA students and different things in these big capstone groups. But at the end of the day, we get this just infinitely great resource that provides unbelievable ideas and information. In one of our companies, they came back with an idea that took a particular segment of business that we were throwing away. They came back with an idea, the team that won, with an idea to take the business we were throwing away, capture that business. Not only did we capture, we changed our business model for that segment to service them, that turned that segment into our most profitable segment in the whole company, and recurring revenue, which we did not have a recurring revenue model, nor would we with the other customers. This created a recurring revenue. All came about through a local university business class doing a contest for us to find a gotcha moment. So get with your local universities. Go get with the deans of those schools. Get with the professors. Find out if they have any programs. They also provide interns. They're always looking for companies where they can put their marketing or their accounting interns in. Be active so that when the professor calls you and says, hey, I got 2 interns, jump on it. Get those interns in. They're going to come in with crazy questions. They're going to come in with no blinders on or preconceptions. They're going to be a huge resource to you. And not only that, they're very inexpensive. And thirdly, more than likely, they're going to work for you. We had one successful company here in Tampa, got one of their interns, and now he's a COO of their company 10 years later. So this idea is not a theory. It's a success resource that works. So you got your vendors, first success resource that works. You got your local universities, second success resource that works. And now I want to tell you about your peer group programs. You want to get involved in peer group programs. It could be a Vistage where you pay per month and you have peer group CEOs or peer people that you get involved with. We have a local CEO council. See if there's somewhere around that has a CEO council. By the way, these are not networking groups. These are not groups designed for you to go network and get business. These are brain trust groups where you do not network, you do not solicit, and you go in and you learn from your peers and you bring ideas, they bring ideas, and you share best practices and they share best practices. You also can get industry roundtables. That's where you meet the top competitors to you if you were in their markets. It could be in California, Texas, anywhere, Arkansas. You reach out to 5, 6 of those people, meet 2 or 3 times a year, share your financials, share best practices. They're not coming to your market. You're not going to their market. They're going to help you be better. So remember, these tools, these resources are right under your nose. So I want you this week to look around, get from behind the desk, call your vendors, schedule some meetings with the head people, go to your local university in the next week or 2, meet the dean of the business school, meet the dean of the engineering school, or meet the dean of the whatever school you're looking at. If you're medical, meet them, meet some of the key professors, then build relationships. Don't try to close on them the day you meet them. Build the relationships. Get a peer group started for yourself. These 3 ideas will change your world. Remember, it's right under your nose, and it's a Success Resources. Have a great week.
We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Subscribe today to our podcast and send questions or thoughts to help@deanacres.com. Also, visit us at www.deanacres.com to listen to prior shows and view helpful videos. Also, great tips to download. Thanks again. See you next week.